It started with a single courier caught at a border checkpoint, a man carrying gold worth more than his own lifetime. But what authorities found on his phone blew open one of the largest smuggling webs on the planet. A billion-dollar gold pipeline stretching from abandoned African mines to private jets to European vaults. This is where the trail leads. Shock opening. The 2025 raid begins at 3:14 a.m. A convoy of armored SUVs cuts through the outskirts of Johannesburg, engines barely audible. Inside, South Africa's elite investigative unit grips their rifles, reviewing the final briefing. They expect resistance. They expect corruption. What they don't expect is what they find when they break down the warehouse doors. Stacked inside, row after row, are gold bars. Not dozens, not hundreds, thousands, marked with different refinery stamps, different serial codes, some legitimate, most forged. The bars glimmer under their flashlights like a sea of frozen fire. And on a desk in the corner sits an open ledger. The first page shows a number that freezes every agent in the room. $1.08 billion confirmed. A billion-dollar smuggling network, not just surviving. This is the return of the African Gold Mafia, bigger, smarter, and more dangerous than before. To understand how the 2025 raids exposed one of the world's most sophisticated illegal gold pipelines, we must follow the chain, not just where the gold is mined, but how it moves, how it vanishes, and who profits while entire nations are quietly robbed. The rise, fall, and rebirth of a shadow empire. For years, whispers of the African Gold Mafia circulated through reports and intelligence files. The network had every element of a ghost operation. Shell companies, private jets, corrupt officials, political fixers, and a supply chain stretching from Zimbabwe's artisanal mines to Dubai's gold markets. Authorities believed they crippled the network in 2023 when dozens were arrested. But they were wrong. The world didn't grasp that the Gold Mafia wasn't just a criminal group, it was a system, deeply rooted in multiple economies. Shutting it down was like trying to remove a spider web without touching the spider. When the 2023 cases faded, the network didn't fall. It adapted. By late 2024, unexplained gold shipments began appearing in the UAE, shipments that didn't match African records. The syndicate was alive, richer, more connected, far quieter. The new operations, a 2025 blueprint. By early 2025, investigators from South Africa, Zimbabwe, and Interpol spotted a pattern. Private flights leaving Harare and landing in remote airstrips across Limpopo, Botswana, and Mozambique. These weren't commercial routes, they were nighttime charters flown by the same trusted pilots. Undercover agents eventually traced one aircraft to a hangar near Pretoria and uncovered a hidden method. Built into the plane's flooring was a hollow compartment, insulated to evade detection. Each compartment held up to 80 kilograms of gold. Each flight carried 4. One journey moved hundreds of bars worth millions. The gold then traveled to cleaning houses, where it was melted, mixed, re-stamped, and given a fresh identity. Once reborn, it entered the global supply chain, completely untraceable. This was industrial-scale laundering, not in secret hideouts, but in legal refineries, customs offices, and airports. With help. Because none of it functions without someone getting paid. The corruption inside the system that enabled the network. To understand how the network rebuilt itself, investigators mapped out the chain of corruption. 1. Artisanal miners. Thousands of unregistered miners in Zimbabwe and South Africa dig the gold. They get paid in cash, usually less than half of international market price. They never ask where the gold goes. 2. Police and border officers. For years, bribes kept shipments moving across land borders. But by 2025, smugglers found a better solution: private airstrips and officials who didn't notice when planes flew in at night. 3. Politically connected fixers. These individuals acted as brokers, shielding the gold shipments with paperwork that made the cargo appear as industrial scrap or mineral samples. 4. Refineries and middlemen. This was the heart of the laundering operation. Once the gold was melted and stamped, the chain of custody restarted. The gold was now legal. From here, it could move anywhere. 5. UAE traders. Dubai, with its massive gold market and lighter transparency requirements, became the perfect endpoint. Gold entered through trading houses, often mixed with legitimate shipments from other countries. The system was elegant, profitable, and nearly impossible to trace, until one mistake triggered a domino effect, the mistake that exposed everything. In late 2024, a routine customs check in Johannesburg flagged something suspicious, a shipment labeled as industrial brass components that had an unusual density reading. When officers opened the crate, they found blocks of metal covered in brass plating. Scratched the surface, and the plating fell away. Underneath was pure gold, over 200 kilograms. The customs officer who filed the report had no idea that he'd just uncovered the first crack in a billion-dollar empire. Within days, intelligence teams linked the shipment to a shell company that had received over 20 similar cargo shipments in the past 6 months. The paper trail began to unravel. Names surfaced, addresses, private airfields, warehouse leases, and one particular fixer, known only as the Bishop, appeared in nearly every document. The Bishop, the man who turned smuggling into a business. Every empire has a strategist. This one had the Bishop. He wasn't a miner or a pilot, he operated above them, coordinating logistics, bribes, pilots, refinery access, and export routes like a chess grandmaster. Authorities say he oversaw flight schedules, border payments, trusted pilots, refinery bookings, export papers, and high-level contacts in Dubai's gold markets. He was known for quiet elegance, dark suits, sharp grooming, expensive rings. He never carried weapons. He never threatened anyone. He simply solved problems, and for nearly 3 years, he stayed untouchable. Then one call exposed him. A wiretap caught him instructing a pilot to switch to Route 3 because Limpopo is not safe tonight. That was enough. The net closed in. The raid that shocked the world. January 2025, anti-corruption units across Africa launched synchronized raids, hitting dozens of locations from Johannesburg to Harare. The warehouse stacked with $1 billion worth of gold wasn't even the main objective. The primary target was a small private airport believed to be the heart of the smuggling pipeline. When officers entered the hangar, they found the Bishop standing calmly among pilots, almost as if he knew this moment had finally arrived. But his office revealed the real shock. A safe filled with multiple passports, foreign apartment keys, encrypted bank cards, and a handwritten note that read simply, "We start again." His empire had been designed to survive collapse, and the arrests were merely the opening salvo. The money trail, following the billion-dollar pipeline. Once the raids concluded, forensic teams traced the financial lifelines of the operation. Fake charities funneled supposed donations that were actually payments for shipments. Shell company real estate deals in the UAE hid profits behind luxury apartments. Cryptocurrency wallets obscured transfers through privacy coins, and some of the largest flows led back to political figures receiving monthly consulting fees. The deeper investigators dug, the clearer it became. This wasn't just a criminal network, it was a shadow economy, an alternative financial system generating wealth for hundreds across borders. The 2025 crackdown didn't just target smugglers, it threatened to expose a vast economic machine. The Dubai connection, where dirty gold becomes clean. Dubai, long one of the world's major gold hubs, became the crucial endpoint. But what 2025 investigators discovered stunned even experts. Traders received shipments that appeared completely legitimate, backed by documentation and refinery serial codes. But the stamps were forgeries, crafted by specialists who replicated official marks so accurately that even seasoned analysts struggled to tell the difference. Once the gold entered Dubai's markets, it mixed with legal supplies and flowed into Switzerland, India, China, and Europe. By the time it reached jewelers or banks, its origins were impossible to trace. Dirty gold became indistinguishable from clean. And the African Gold Mafia capitalized at every stage of the transformation. The international response. The 2025 raids triggered a wave of international coordination. Interpol issued notices. The UAE launched an internal audit of gold trading houses. South Africa froze 120 bank accounts. Zimbabwe opened new corruption inquiries. Botswana tightened private aviation rules. Mozambique shut down suspicious airstrips. But despite these efforts, intelligence agents warned the same thing. Cutting off the head doesn't kill the system. As long as corruption exists, as long as gold prices remain high, and as long as national economies are in crisis, networks like this will always find a way to survive. The human cost. Behind every bar of smuggled gold is another story: children working in illegal mines, communities displaced, lands destroyed by toxic chemicals used for extraction, countries losing billions in revenue that could fund hospitals, schools, and infrastructure. For the miners, the gold brings no wealth, only danger. For the cartels, the gold brings power. And for the world, the gold simply blends into the market, becoming part of jewelry, electronics, and bank reserves. The crimes are invisible, the profits are not. The unfinished story. By March 2025, governments celebrated their victories. Press conferences portrayed the crackdown as the end of the African Gold Mafia. But investigators knew the truth. The raids hurt the network. Yes. They disrupted operations. Yes. They arrested key figures. Yes. But they did not destroy the system. Because within months, new players emerged. New smuggling routes opened. New refineries began melting gold under different names. And the bishop? Some claim he negotiated a deal. Others claim he vanished. Others say he never left. What is certain is that the African Gold Mafia didn't end in 2025. It adapted once more. Conclusion: a warning for the future. As long as gold remains one of the world's most valuable resources, it will always attract corruption. It will always fuel shadow economies. It will always empower networks that thrive in darkness. And if the events of 2025 proved anything, it's that the African Gold Mafia is not just a criminal network. It's a reminder of how fragile global systems really are. The raids caught the world's attention, but the return of the Gold Mafia, that's only the beginning. If you want more deep-dive investigative stories like this one, real operations, real investigations, real global consequences, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next episode. This world is changing fast, and sometimes the most important stories are the ones hidden behind closed doors, until someone forces them into the light.